feel your best, you better get a hell of a lot better, or you are gonna feel a hell of a lot worse.
Good morning, hookah smokers. This is Matt with Morning Hookah here, wishing you a happy new year. Yes, we are already here. It is 2020. Can't believe it feels like the year is already almost gone. But we're gonna kick off this new year with a different video than I've ever done in the past before. People always ask me, Matt, how do you clean a hookah properly? How do you clean a hookah bowl properly? How do you clean your hookah stuff? And that's what we're gonna be going over today. So no, it's not a review. It's not a topic discussion. It is literally gonna be me cleaning hookah stuff, breaking it down, showing you what I like to do when it comes to cleaning it. So let's go ahead and get into it right here on Morning Hookah. So here is what I do when it comes to cleaning my bowls, my hookah. I'm going to do two different hookahs I'm going to clean the light smoke hookah. And then I'm also going to be cleaning the Vyro hookah as well. Go through my little tips and tricks because there's a couple of interesting tips and tricks that will help you. Step one, when you're getting ready to do your cleaning, is to use whatever sink you're going to be using, be it a bathtub if you got like a really long hookah that you can't break down, it's not modular, or your kitchen sink or whatever sink you're going to be using. Fill it up at least, so much hot water. You can do it two ways. One, you can do it so hot you can't touch it and let your stuff kind of soak in it for a while, or you can kind of do it at that like 3/4 temperature, so that you can get everything soaking, and then while it's soaking, you can also clean it. Tip number two, when it comes to cleaning a hookah, your hookah stuff, definitely get one of these. Definitely get a bristle pad, because you really want to be able to clean those bowls and get them looking like they used to. Use some elbow grease in it and stuff like that. Step three is to get something like this. This is just like, you can probably grab like silicone off of like a mouth tip, or if you have an old silicone hose that you're not using, cut off like two ends and just get a piece like this. And this is going to be very useful for you in the future, depending on the type of hookahs that you're cleaning. Sometimes it can be difficult to unscrew parts of the hookah, and if for some reason you accidentally over tightened a piece and you're having a hard time getting, your hands are a little soapy and stuff like that, and you don't want to bust out your vice grips or something, you can put this on the end of it and then use that to help you twist, and it's going to give you a little bit more friction on the inside to twist against. That's going to help a lot, and that's actually what we're going to be doing with the Vyro hookah, but we'll run through that here in just a minute. The third tip is to have yourself a wash rag of some kind and lay it out so it's ready to absorb everything. And then this is what I do. You don't have to do this or anything like that, but I like to have a little basket. My smoking area is not like in the same place as my kitchen is, so I travel from my smoking area to my kitchen, from my kitchen to my smoking area. So after I'm done drying everything on a towel, I have a little paper towel on the inside of this as well. Flip it upside down, and I can easily transport this back and forth. When you're doing your hookah bowls, you got the tin foil on them and stuff like that. Pretty simple, easy step. What I do is I tear off one side of the tin foil just like that, lift it up like that, and then I just push down against the bowl with the tin foil right there. Push down, spin it in a circle like that over the top of a garbage can, and then I try to get as much out as I possibly can. Then that's when I let it just sit inside the hot water. Some of these bowls are a little bit dirtier than other bowls. If they're cooked real well and stuff, and you're not gonna have a whole lot of juices, but sometimes, depending on what it is that you were smoking, dark side usually leaves a little bit more residue. Tangiers, if you get a really nice good cook on it, like I'm pretty sure I did with this one, it's pretty much cooked all the way. It's basically just brittle and stuff like that. So yeah, and then you just leave it in here. And as with a lot of things in hookah, this is not a science. We're just cleaning, okay? We're just getting things cleaned up. So like if you do things a little bit differently, not a huge deal. People have asked me before, like, do you need to use soap? I don't use soap because the stuff that I'm cleaning, like I just rinse really well, and I've never felt the need to. In the vase, I've used soap before, but like I don't use soap on the bowls. I don't use soap on like the stem or anything like that. What I do sometimes after it's been maybe 2 or 3 months and stuff is I'll give it a real deep clean, and I'll use either a little bit of lemon juice or I'll use some salt, the heavy grain salt, and I'll put that in, and then I'll plug on one side, and then I'll shake it back and forth. Another good thing to invest in that I would show you more of, but mine is broken and I need to actually replace mine. I'm getting ready to. But these sort of pipe cleaners Like this one is all torn up and everything. Like I'll use it for the Vyro because it's still useful for that. But these sort of like pipe cleaners and stuff, that's what you want to get. Those are really good for cleaning purposes and stuff, especially by throwing in some lemon juice and letting it sit in there for a little while and let it really get a nice deep clean. So using your bristle pad, you know, the real heavy duty side, the real heavy grit side. I've also done this with like steel wool. That's a really good thing to use as well. You'll really get a nice good clean. You just really want to get in there real deep, just with a lot of pressure. You're not going to hurt the bowl. I mean, unless you like literally like tear it off or something. But honestly, you're fine. So just use that, you know, the rougher side of your sponge and just really get in real deep. Some things that you want to keep an eye out for when it comes to things like, you know, like the mason bowl and stuff, is they have like hidden crevices because it has like this like little mullet catcher kind of built into the bottom of the bowl. So you want to make sure that if there's anything that's getting stuck in there, you stick the sponge in it and give that a nice good clean as well. You know, you don't have to let these things sit for a very long time and let them get, you know, overly soaked or anything like that. And then you want to run, I like to run a little bit of cold water, not cold water, but just some like warm water through it as well. I find that's, I don't know, that's just a habit that I got into after I clean it all up. I just run water through it as well that way, because it's been sitting in the dirty water. I like to run some clean water through it as well. So, and then after you get it cleaned off, I just set it on that towel that I was talking about earlier and let it sit there and dry on that. And then after I'm done washing all the bowls, then I usually move on to the hookah stuff. So let's get on to the hookah stuff. Time to clean the hookah, and we just got to break it down. With this kind of hookah, everything comes apart. It makes it really easy to clean even inside of a little sink. I mean, there are times where if you have those really big hookahs like KM style and Shikas and stuff like that, or my AOT carbon 1 stem, it doesn't break apart. So I'll usually clean those sort of pipes inside like a bathtub, make it real easy to clean in that respect and stuff. But for something like this that breaks apart real easily, all I do is just twist your ashtray to loosen up the top grommet, and then I just start putting everything down. The ashtray, if it's real dirty, I'll clean it. If it's not too dirty, then I usually will just give it a wipe down and not worry about it. Not a big deal, obviously. Now, with some of these sleeve type hookahs, you want to be careful because even if it's like faux wood or anything like that, this is like I'm not like a plexi board. I can't think of like the right terminology, but it's like, it's not real wood, but it's not real fake wood. I don't know what the hell to call it. But it's a sleeve and you don't want to get this wet. So what I like to do to make sure you don't ruin it is just get a paper towel and wipe it off through the inside and the outside. And to make sure that it goes all the way through, you can use your stem while it's available. So yeah, just take a paper towel. I don't like to pre-wet this because once again, I don't want to damage the wood. You just take it, stuff it all the way in there. And then the nice thing about these stems is the stems are longer than the sleeves are, so you can take it and stick it right through, just like that, and now you've got all the way through from the top to the bottom. And then you can wipe the bottom part as well. That kind of gives you the ability to make sure if there's any juices or anything that's gone, it's probably not going to be in the middle of your stem because you're doing a good job of keeping it clean. Because over time, anything can happen. Anything can drip down there, anything can cause a little bit of a mess. So be careful with your stem pieces and stuff. And then for the vase, there's a couple different things to do. I like to just let mine sit in some hot water. After, like I said, a couple of months, I'll put in a little bit of salt and I'll swish it around. There's a couple other things you can do. I've seen people put magnets inside of these sort of like bristle things to clean it out real good. That works as well. Other ways you can do it is they make these really interesting brushes that go and they twist. I'll put a picture up so you can take a look at it. Those are pretty inexpensive. I keep meaning to buy one. I just forget every time I go. Every time I'm on the Wish app, every time I'm on Amazon, like anytime I'm buying digital goods, I just forget about it and just don't think about it, and then I regret not getting it, basically. All right, let's talk about the Vyro Hookah because this thing is pretty interesting, and there's a lot of like little pieces to it, right? Like your hose grommet is this small piece right here. Your bowl grommet is this piece right here. It's all sometimes a little bit hard to get to, and sometimes when you unscrew all of it, I'll show you in a minute, it can be a little bit tough to screw the pieces in the middle if you want to get a really good deep cleaning to them. So, like I said, if you have that little piece of silicone right here, it actually makes it a lot easier to put these on these pieces, and then you can actually twist them off of this a lot easier. In this case, it's a little wet at the moment. The middle one's real easy. The middle one just comes right off just like that, without no issues at all. But the side ones, they're really close to the side. So they're kind of hard to get your fingers on the inside of it, right? The one that's on my left, I guess I should say, is the one that goes to the purge. That one's usually pretty easy to get off. There's a little purge ball inside there that I like to take out and clean, make sure it's not sticking before I start smoking, because then it's going to purge water into it, and that is not a good thing. So you take this little silicone piece, you stick it right over top of the metal piece that's going to where the bowl port is, and then you can use that as leverage to twist, and that will help give you a little bit of a better grip, a little bit more traction on it, I've noticed. So just like that. That makes it a lot easier to get your finger on the outside of it. Sometimes you might have to dry up the middle piece a little bit to make sure that it comes out real good. And then the purge one is not too bad because you can stick your thumb on the inside of this piece right here, and that kind of gives you a little bit of room to kind of work with. Overall, it's as easy to clean as it is hard to clean, which it's not too bad. It could be better, it could be worse, all those kind of different things. It's such a small little hookah. It's pretty interesting engineering-wise, like how they got all of this to work. I'm much bigger of a fan of this hookah than I personally expect it to be. I really do love it. I really do like it a lot. I use it all the time. Big fan. And then with the majority of this stuff, you're just going to let it soak, run hot water through it. And then after you give everything a nice, good cleaning to it, like I said, when it comes to just like weekly cleanings, like I'm just going to rinse everything down. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm going to clean all the metal pieces to make sure they're completely dry. But the bases and stuff, every couple of months, that's when I'll give it a real good deep cleaning. And this one's actually just about ready to. You can see the line a little bit, the buildup right there. That's where like I usually put my hose, my water level. And you're starting to see that line get built up right there. So I'm going to be doing a nice big deep clean of these things as well here real soon. Yeah, I mean this little Vyro hookah is just so simple and easy to clean for. Just rinse it out once again. This stuff you can give a nice good cleaning to and dry it off a little bit before you set it down to let it drip dry. And then I also like to give it a full dry down before I get it all assembled as well. Because the last thing I want is it to accidentally, cause any sort of water problems with rust or anything like that. I know it's a high quality metal that it's made out of, but like anything sitting in water for too long is going to damage it for anything. It doesn't matter what it is. With like the Light Smoke hookah, it has the detachable diffuser that I pull off, and I clean the little joints inside of it as well. I want to make sure those things are getting properly cleaned, because if molasses or juice or anything is sitting inside there, like that's also a possibility for a rust problem, any sort of moisture buildup of any kind. And these like little crevices, like sometimes those get ignored, and that's what causes those things to go bad. So you just want to be careful with that, obviously. And then because my bowls have already started to dry off, and I need this to obviously dry off as well, I'll stick these right inside the middle of these. That way it doesn't sit there on the side and have water that's just getting built up on it as well. So I use my bowls to keep my metal pieces up for my hookah, my stem pieces. That way they will completely drip, or allow the water to go through it all the way, so it doesn't sit there like this. It'll go straight down it. Here's a little bit of the Vyro hookah broken down. This is the piece that goes for the stem piece. It has a built-in diffuser that you can see, and this screws into the bottom of it. And when you're filling it up with water, you just barely want it to go over top the very top part of the diffuser on this one, and that will give you your best scenario where you will not accidentally purge water up into your bowl, ruining your session. Be careful with that. When it comes to purge balls of any kind, you always want to do a very good job of drying these off, because if they're even a little bit wet and you go to purge it, it can stick a little bit, and then you will have the possibility of shooting water going straight up your stem piece, because there's no pressure that you're able to, because when you blow, you're pushing the pressure out. When you're sucking, you're pulling the pressure down. So when you blow, you want to make sure that that ball's popping so that the air is leaking through it. Otherwise, it'll go straight through the only source that it can to escape for the air, and it'll go straight up your bowl. And that will ruin it if you splash a bunch of water into your bowl. It'll ruin your session. You do not want to do that at all. The purge port that I use for the majority of my hookahs, it doesn't matter if it's traditional, modern, old, Egyptian, everything except for something like the Vyro that has something built in for it, is these like universal purge that have a little glass bearing inside of it. Just want to make sure that you shake those nice and dry. Stick a little piece of paper towel through it. Make sure that it's dry so nothing is sticking inside there as well. Another important thing when cleaning hookahs, if you have grommets of any kind, make sure you're moving those grommets around and you're not allowing water to get stuck in those areas where the grommets are covering, because there will be a little bit of moisture and that can cause, water damage as well. Because anything that you're not specifically cleaning yourself, there has the ability to get water trapped inside of it. And if there's water trapped inside of it, then you have the possibility of getting some sort of water damage. So you just want to be careful. Always take things as much apart as possible when doing any of these sorts of cleanings. Because the more dry you can get it after you're done cleaning it, the better your hookah is going to last you for a much, much longer amount of time. But yeah, that's about all I can say about cleaning hookahs. Be very vigilant. It's a very, very important step. If you're noticing that you're not getting the flavors that you used to at times, it's worth it to give your hookah a deep, deep clean with some salt and some lemon juice. Those are the two main things that I've ever used, is salt and lemon juice. What do you guys use? Do you use something a little bit different? Something that maybe you're surprised nobody else does it or nobody else cleans it like this? You're like, hey, how come nobody else does it like this? Is there something that you're thinking of that I may be forgetting? But yeah, when it comes to doing deep cleans, it's definitely lemon juice and salt for me. What about you guys? What do you use for your deep, deep cleans of your hookahs? But I'm going to let these bad boys dry out for a little while so I can get them set up and I can start smoking again. But until next time, thank you guys so much for stopping by here over at Morning Hookah. I appreciate you guys very much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And hey, let's see if we can get the likes. Let's put a little bit of a like goal on today's video and see if we can't get up to 25 likes on today's video. Please hit that like button. We will be doing some giveaways here in the future, and yes, like goals will be a part of that. So let's see if we can hit that 25, and if we can, then before the next video drops, we're probably going to be doing these videos in about 10-day increments type thing. So if we can get that up to like 25 within like 10 days or so, then I will definitely consider doing a giveaway for this channel pretty soon. So thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night. I hope you guys are enjoying whatever it is that's in your bowl.
Well, your best better get a hell of a lot better, or you are going to feel a hell of a lot worse.
May the wind always be at your back, and the sun always upon your face.